Hello to all Cinemaster lovers. Hope you enjoy watching. Let's get started. The movie begins with an old lake located at an archaeological excavation site. There's a fisherman named Matthew sitting in a secluded part of the lake, fishing while drinking. After a while, he catches a fish and starts reeling it in, but his juice bottle accidentally falls into the water. Suddenly, an earthquake occurs in the area, and the bottle sinking into the depths of the lake, entering a place that opened up due to the earthquake. However, Matthew is in his own world, excited about the fish he caught. At this moment, the earthquake splitting the lake in two, creating a whirlpool that pulls in and swallows his boat. At the same moment, thousands of predatory fish species emerge onto the surface. In the end, Matthew falls into the water, and the predatory fish start devouring him. During summer vacation, the place is extremely crowded because college students are coming to celebrate the vacation. Here, Jack Forrester, who is riding his motorcycle to pick up his younger sister Laura. On his way, he runs into his mom, Officer Julie Forrester. Julie is dealing with some of the young people heading to the party, and she ends up arresting one of them after he disrespects her. Shortly after, Jack arrives and meets up with his friends. He notices that Callie, the girl he has a crush on, is also there. They talk for a while until Todd and another friend come to take Callie away. Jack hasn't taken a step with Callie because Todd is involved with her. Then Todd tells her he has backstage tickets for the party. Callie tells Jack that he has to join them at the party, but he says he's staying with Laura and his younger brother Zane. Afterward, Todd's friend starts to annoy Jack by throwing his juice can at him, which really irritates Jack. After that, Jack goes to look for Laura and finds her talking with Danny, who is a newbie actress. At first, Jack thinks Danny is mocking him and making fun of his t-shirt, but later realizes she's actually a nice person. After a while, Derek Jones, Danny's manager, shows up. When he finds out that Jack lives in the area, he convinces Jack to be their guide while they film in the town. When Laura mentions that her brother is going to stay with her and their younger brother at home, Jack quickly shuts her up before she says too much. Later that night, Jack is sitting at his computer when Julie, their mom, comes in and reminds him to make sure he stays with his younger siblings. The next day, and later that same night, Julie is called into work. She learns that there's a report of Matthew being missing, and they're currently gathering all the evidence. Julie finds out that the government detected some unusual movement happening beneath the lake, and they ask her to join a team of divers and seismologists to investigate the area. After a while, they find Matthew's empty boat. As she tries to approach the boat, Julie falls into the lake and stumbles upon Matthew's corpse, which floats up near her. Julie insists that they should close off the lake until they figure out what's going on, but she's told that her request is impossible because this is a major economic week for the town, with 20,000 people coming to celebrate there. The next morning, a young guy jumps off a hill, and suddenly, the predatory fish swarm and devour him too. Jack bribing his siblings so they won't tell their mom that he left them alone. He does this because he wants to join Derek and Danny. Meanwhile, the team of seismologists arrives, led by Novak, along with the divers Paula and Sam, loading their equipment onto a police boat. During this time, Novak shows Julie the coordinates of the seismic activity, and they head out to investigate. On the other side, Jack arrives at the dock and finds Derek and the actors with him. As he's boarding the boat, he bumps into Callie. In that moment, Derek calls out to him, but Jack tries to avoid her, not wanting to face Callie. However, Derek comes over anyway, and when he sees how beautiful Callie is, he invites her onto the boat. Jack becomes worried that Derek might want her to be part of the movie or something. When Todd and his friends see Callie getting on the boat with Derek, they call out to her, but she ignores them, even after they wave the concert tickets at her. The guys act even more foolish when they see her with Jack, who waves at them and laughs to annoy them. At the same time, Zane and Laura disregard Jack's instructions and take a small boat out into the water to go fishing. When they reach an island, they forget to tie their boat to the shore, and they get stranded. Realizing this, they start to panic, afraid of how their brother will react. Laura tries to signal passing boats several times, but no one sees her. At one point, she even takes off her sandal and wades into the water to get closer to a boat. But just then, a piranha swims nearby. Laura steps on a broken bottle, injuring her foot, and the smell of blood attracts the piranha. It rushes toward her, but luckily, Laura manages to get out of the water just in time, unaware that if she had stayed a second longer, her legs would have been bitten off. Julie and Novak's team arriving at the coordinates of the earthquake. Using the digital mapping device, they discover that the earthquake opened a passage to an underground lake. Paula and Sam dive to explore the area, maintaining contact with Novak via radio. They realize that only one person can fit through the narrow passage, so Sam decides to go in while Paula stays near the entrance to keep communication intact. Meanwhile, Novak is marking their location on the digital map, which also functions as a radio. When Sam goes through the passage, he finds it leads to an underwater lake, resembling a flooded cave. There, he sees what looks like tall plants, but they turn out to be thousands of piranha eggs scattered throughout the cave. When Sam removes his glove to touch one, something bites him, and he starts bleeding into the water. He alerts Paula and lights a flare underwater, only to be horrified by what he sees. Hundreds of hungry piranhas surrounding him. They attack all at once. Paula calls out to him but hears only screams as he's devoured. Novak quickly puts on his diving suit and jumps in to help, while Paula follows Sam into the cave. However, she doesn't make it out alive. She barely reaches the entrance of the cave before she's killed. Novak reaches her and pulls her body to the surface, with Julie helping them get back onto the boat as fast as possible. Unfortunately, Novak is the only one who survives. When they check Paula, they find her body torn apart, with a piranha beside her. At the same time, Derek's team remains completely unaware of the danger. They're enjoying their time, taking pictures and playing around, oblivious to the horrors happening below the water. At this point, Novak and Julie take the piranha they caught to Carl Goodman, a retired marine biologist who now runs a fish shop with his wife. When they put the piranha in an aquarium, Goodman immediately identifies it as a piranha and references a fossil he has. He explains that this species is known as Pygocentris nadareri, a vicious predator. These piranhas have survived deep beneath the surface for an extremely long time without any food source, relying on human flesh to sustain themselves. He further explains that they hunt in organized groups, with one piranha biting to make someone bleed, attracting the rest of the group through the scent of blood. Meanwhile, on Derek's boat, Jack is helping with the filming when he spots his siblings stranded on the island, calling out for help. Jack shouts for someone to rescue them, which angers Derek for interrupting the shoot. However, Jack forces Derek to go save his siblings. At first, Derek refuses, focusing more on creating content for his channel, but he changes his mind when he learns that Jack's mom is a police officer. During this time, one of the actors is playing with a parachute and ends up falling into the water, where the piranhas attack and eat half of her. Back at the beach party, Julie, Novak, Fallon, and Deputy Taylor warn everyone to get out of the water and alert them to the danger. When no one listens, Taylor fires a gun into the air to get their attention. However, instead of following the police orders, the crowd continues partying, and even more people jump into the water, unaware of the deadly threat lurking beneath. At this point, Jack manages to rescue his siblings from the island, yelling at them for the trouble they caused. Derek insists they move to the second location, and Jack brings his siblings, along with Kelly, who is drunk. Meanwhile, Zane and Laura spot the fish swimming underneath them, completely unaware that these creatures are predators. Suddenly, the boat stalls because seaweed has clogged the motor. Derek, after blaming Jack for everything that has gone wrong, tries to get the boat moving again. At the same time, the crowd begins to panic as the piranhas attack a girl on a float, causing a frenzy as everyone scrambles to get out of the water. Julie and Novak work to help people out of the water, with most survivors making it to the stage by the water. However, the large crowd causes the stage to collapse, sending more people into the water where the piranhas continue their attacks. Novak leaps from the boat, grabbing a beach buggy and a weapon, firing at the fish to save as many people as he can. Julie uses her taser in the water, electrocuting a large number of piranhas, even making one explode. Meanwhile, Todd attempts to help injured people by driving a boat towards them, but the motor gets tangled in a woman's hair, killing her when it jams and mangles her head. The boat eventually tips over due to the sheer number of people trying to climb aboard, and the piranhas consume everyone in the water. Back on Derek's boat, he finally gets the motor running, but they crash into a rock, causing the cabin where Zane, Laura, and Kelly are to fill with water. Thankfully, the kids manage to escape before they drown. However, Derek, Crystal, and Andrew are thrown into the water, where piranhas quickly devour Crystal and Andrew. Derek barely makes it out of the water with Danny's help, but when she pulls him out, she finds that half of his body has been eaten by the piranhas. Danny covers his body with a towel after realizing he's dead. At this moment, Kelly is trapped in the flooding room, where piranhas are also swimming. Jack communicates with her from the ceiling of the room, trying to help her escape. Meanwhile, on the shore, chaos ensues as people desperately try to get out of the water. Two men attempt to pull a wounded girl out, but they pull too hard and end up tearing her in half. Fallon tries to protect the people running towards the shore, shooting at the piranhas with his gun. When he runs out of bullets, he uses the boat's motor as a makeshift chainsaw, managing to kill several piranhas before they finally attack and kill him. Julie is assisting the injured when she receives a call from Jack, who tells her everything that happened with him and his siblings. Worried, Julie hurries, but her boat starts sinking, so she hops onto a nearby boat and makes her way across the floating debris. Novak follows and helps her. Eventually, Jack, Danny, and the kids are relieved to see Julie and Novak. However, since their boat is wedged between rocks, Julie's boat can't get close enough. Novak throws a rope, and Julie ties one end to her boat while Jack ties the other end to theirs. Julie climbs across the rope to reach the other side, and Novak keeps the motor running to tighten the rope and keep it steady. Once Julie safely reaches her children, she realizes Kelly is trapped in the flooding room, and the opening in the ceiling is too small for her to escape. Julie decides to get everyone across the rope to Novak first, and then return for Kelly. Jack insists on staying with Kelly until he figures out how to save her, feeling guilty for bringing her into danger. Julie reluctantly agrees and crosses the rope with the younger kids and Danny. Meanwhile, the piranhas jump out of the water, trying to reach them. Due to the weight of 4 people, the rope sags, allowing a piranha to grab Danny by her hair and pull her into the water, where she is eaten. Zane and Laura make it to the boat before the rope loosens, causing Julie to almost fall into the water. Luckily, the rope gets stuck on a metal bar, preventing it from dropping further. Novak starts the boat, pulling the rope up again, allowing Julie to reach the boat before the piranhas get her. Meanwhile, Kelly fights off the piranhas in the flooding room, hitting them with a frying pan. Jack cuts the rope and prepares to help her. When he tries to grab Derek's body, he finds Derek still barely alive, but he dies shortly after. Jack is forced to throw Derek's body into the water, using it as bait to draw the piranhas away with the scent of blood. He takes this opportunity to rush to Kelly, and she's relieved to see him. Jack instructs Kelly to tie 2 flares together while he opens the gas pipes. He then contacts Novak, telling him to pull them out in exactly 10 seconds once he gives the signal. After counting to 3, the 2 dive into the water to escape. At the 10-second mark, Novak starts the boat. Jack lights the flare and throws it towards the boat, igniting the gas pipes. The flare explodes on the water's surface, setting off a chain reaction that kills all the surrounding piranhas. As soon as they reach a safe spot, they stop the boat, and Kelly and Jack climb aboard. Shortly after, Goodman calls Julie to inform her that he has studied the piranha species and discovered that the ones they encountered were actually juveniles, meaning they were still young. Novak, worried, asks where the parents might be. At that exact moment, a giant piranha, about the size of a shark, leaps out of the water, grabs Novak, and drags him into the water. After a year since these events, a report recounts the story and what transpired afterward. In the wake of the deadly piranha attack, the town has shut down due to the economic decline, especially following the negative media coverage of the incident. The shores are littered with the remains of piranhas, and the boats remain abandoned, as if frozen in time since the tragedy. On a night in which 2 fishermen walk along an old pier, they descend into the water, completely unaware that they are surrounded by hundreds of piranha eggs that could hatch at any moment. When they spot something floating on the water's surface, one of them uses a large hook to pull it closer. In that moment, an egg falls from the floating object, and one of the fishermen lights a lighter to get a better look at it. This, however, triggers an explosion, causing all the piranha eggs in the vicinity to hatch. As they attempt to return to shore, they are attacked by the newly hatched piranhas, which tear into them mercilessly. The next morning, the owner of a new water park is filming an advertisement for the place when his wife, Maddie, arrives. He stops filming to talk with her, and they get into an argument because he replaced the old lifeguards with actresses to boost tourism. He reassures her that he knows what he's doing. After that, he shows her the new section he built, called the adult pool. She scolds him for making decisions without consulting her, reminding him that she owns 49% of the place and that he should consult her before making any decisions. At night, the place gets crowded as young people come to have fun and hang out. Maddie meets her friends, Ashley and Shelby. Ashley tells Maddie that Shelby likes a guy named Josh and is thinking about going out with him that night. Maddie's ex-boyfriend, Officer Kyle, who has come to the opening. After they greet each other, Maddie mentions that she's back in town but will only stay for the summer. Kyle responds that the place has lit up since she arrived. Shelby and Josh are sitting on a dock. Shelby suggests they get in the water, so she jumps in first and stays under for a while, making Josh worry about her. He jumps in after her and swims around until Shelby feels something brushing against her legs. It's the piranhas, starting to surround them, but they don't realize what's happening yet. She remains relaxed. On the other side, Ashley is sitting in a parked car by the lake with a guy named Travis. By accident, she knocks the gear stick out of place, causing the car to roll into the lake. Once Ashley realizes what's happening, she quickly exits the car, leaving Travis inside. At that moment, piranhas attack him, and he starts calling for help until he suddenly goes silent. He breaks the window in a panic, but the piranhas end up killing him. Meanwhile, Ashley starts yelling for help, but unfortunately, no one hears her. On the other side, Shelby apologizes to Josh for what happened, but he tells her he really enjoyed being with her. When she asks if he thinks Ashley is prettier than her, he assures her he doesn't think so. At this time, Maddie closes the place after finishing her work and heads to her office. The next morning, the place fills up with people again, but Maddie wonders why Ashley and Travis haven't shown up. When she asks Shelby if she has seen them, Shelby replies that she hasn't seen anyone since morning. Shelby then reflects that it might be due to what Ashley drank the previous day, or something that entered her body while she was in the water. After that, the sky darkens, and the police notice the car that Ashley and Travis were in. Kyle sends a dive team to pull it out of the water. When they open the car, they find it completely empty with no one inside. Afterward, the police talk to Shelby, asking if she knows where they might be, but she tells them she doesn't have any information. Then she stands on the dock, and Maddie walks up to her, commenting that while Ashley could be annoying, she considered her like a sister and doesn't understand why she suddenly disappeared like that. Suddenly, a piranha jumps at Shelby, but she raises her legs at the last moment. Maddie tells her that they need to leave quickly, but unfortunately, the dock starts breaking apart. Just as Shelby reaches the end of the dock, the piranhas break the board she's standing on, and she falls into the water. Maddie quickly helps her up to escape the danger, but before they can flee, the dock splits in two. Maddie tries to assist her friend again, and after a struggle, Shelby manages to reach Maddie. However, the piranhas don't relent until they both end up in the water. Luckily, the girls can swim and quickly emerge on the shore. Suddenly, they see a piranha jump out of the water onto the shore. Maddie manages to grab it and slams it against a rock. At that moment, their friend Barry arrives to check on them and is shocked when he sees the massive piranha that Maddie killed. Soon after, the police arrive and take Barry and Maddie to a marine biologist who is the same person who recognized the dangers of the piranhas in Lake Victoria years ago. When they arrive, it's dark, and Barry goes to the man's house to talk to him. Initially, the man tries to send them away, thinking they're fans wanting an autograph. However, Maddie explains that the piranhas have returned. He takes them to his lab and shows them a sample of the piranhas from Lake Victoria, explaining that he's been studying them for years. When the piranha hits the glass tank in frustration, he makes fun of it and places a metal plate between the fish and a frog, showing that even though the fish can't see the frog, it can sense it through the plate and easily penetrate it. At that moment, Barry feels sorry for the frog and quickly removes it from the tank just before the piranha can bite him. The scientist then tells them that these fish have lived for centuries in underground lakes filled with sulfur dioxide from geothermal heat. He adds that sulfur dioxide is often released during interactions of water with chlorine, which happens regularly in public swimming pools. This means that the piranhas are likely to be around areas like swimming pools. The scientist tells them that the water park is directly pouring water into the lake, which means the piranhas are certainly heading to their park right now. He explains that he tried to warn people about the danger of the piranhas and how they would affect everyone, but no one listened, even after he published a book on the subject. At that moment, Barry tells him he really loves his book. The scientist is surprised to learn that they're running out of time since the park opens early, meaning they need to return immediately. After that, they see news reports about Ashley and Travis's disappearance. Meanwhile, Josh invites Shelby to stay at his place, as she has started feeling unwell since Ashley went missing. At this point, Maddie prepares to head to the lake to check the pipe that draws water, making sure it isn't allowing piranhas to enter. She tries to convince Barry to go with her as a lookout, but he insists he doesn't even know how to swim. So, Maddie jumps into the lake and discovers that the pipe is secured with an iron grate, leaving no opening for the piranhas to enter. However, out of nowhere, a piranha attacks her. She rushes to get out of the water just as Kyle jumps in and pulls her out at the last second. Meanwhile, Shelby loses consciousness, and when she wakes up, she looks for Josh, only to find blood splattered everywhere. It turns out a piranha had emerged from her body and attacked Josh. Around the same time, Kyle stops the water park owner on the road, and it's revealed that Kyle works for him and even accepts bribes, allowing the owner to do whatever he wants. As Kyle receives an envelope of money, he informs the owner that Maddie and Barry are planning something and reassures him that the pipe is secured, meaning the piranhas can't enter that way unless there's another route leading to the park. In the meantime, Barry and Maddie are discussing her ex-boyfriend when they suddenly see Shelby standing before them, drenched in blood. She tells them that Josh is bleeding heavily and something came out of her body. Barry and Maddie are left shocked and horrified by the sight of Shelby covered in blood. After a few hours, Josh and Shelby are taken to the hospital, and Kyle arrives, informing Maddie that Josh is in the ICU and that Shelby is still unconscious. Maddie goes to take a shower to calm her nerves, but suddenly she imagines piranhas coming out of the faucet, filling the bathtub. It turns out to be just a nightmare. The next day, a celebrity is practicing his song in his hotel room before the grand opening of the water park. The park is filled with locals celebrating the event. One of the attendees is the officer whose legs were eaten by piranhas last year in Lake Victoria. He arrives in a wheelchair with prosthetic limbs. The park owner introduces the celebrity to the crowd, and the opening ceremony begins, with the celebrity taking many photos with people. Meanwhile, Maddie hears a strange noise coming from the lake, and the owner proudly tells her that they no longer have to pay water bills because the system now pumps water by itself. Maddie warns him about the piranhas, but he dismisses her concerns. Unfortunately, Maddie is proven right as the piranhas easily make their way into the swimming pools. A young boy tells his mother that a piranha bit him, but she dismisses it and tells him to get a band-aid from the lifeguard. The boy goes to the celebrity, who is acting as a lifeguard for the day, but the celebrity just gives him an autograph to get rid of him. Suddenly, people start screaming as piranhas swarm the pools, attacking everyone. Blood fills the water, and people run in all directions. Children try to defend themselves, but many are attacked, and even the adults struggle to escape the chaos. Seeing the disaster, the officer overcomes his fear of water and jumps into the pool with his metal legs, which are equipped with weapons to help him kill the piranhas. He successfully saves many children from the pool, and the piranhas can't harm him due to his metal legs. When a woman approaches the celebrity, asking him to help people, he responds by saying he's just an actor, not a real lifeguard. However, he spots the young boy from earlier screaming and runs to help him. Meanwhile, Maddie's stepfather is watching everything unfold from a high vantage point. Maddie rushes to him, punches him in the face, and tells him they need to drain the swimming pools and send the piranhas back to the lake. She instructs Barry to go to the control room and pull the lever to redirect the water. As Maddie's stepfather walks around, he mutters to himself that none of this is his fault. He then grabs money from the office, jumps into his car, and tries to flee. However, he doesn't notice a banner wire, and his head gets severed from his body as he speeds away. Kyle watches Maddie as she tries to save people in the pool. Barry pulls the lever, causing the piranhas to be sucked into the drainage system. Unfortunately, Maddie gets caught in the current and is pulled toward the drains. She calls out to Kyle for help, and he manages to grab her just in time. He admits that he had no idea this would happen and only took the bribes thinking everything was under control. However, due to his phobia of blood, he lets go of her and runs away. Barry then jumps in and helps Maddie, pulling her out just before the piranhas reach them. One of the employees who had been bitten by the piranhas heads to the drainage system and pours flammable chemicals into the pipes. He throws a cigarette into the mix, causing a massive explosion that kills a large number of the piranhas. The blast sends a piece of metal flying through the air, which lands on Kyle, killing him. The scientist calls Maddie and warns her that the piranhas are evolving rapidly. They've even learned how to walk, as one of the piranhas at his lab managed to escape its tank. If you liked the video, subscribe to the channel and activate the notification button to get more new videos. See ya!